Good morning, it's Andrew, Supercharged Stocks. Today we're catching up with a friend, James Anderson, who's the chairman and CEO of VanGold Mining. We've spoken to James a couple times. Very interesting project, but what he's going to catch us up to is a bunch of things that have gone on in the last little while. So they've outlined a PEA. It's got a 7-year mine life. They've added Ramon Davila to their advisory board, and also they did a private placement. I think it was started off around 12 million. They've increased it to almost 17, I think 16.95 million. But in that placement, along with it being a great higher number and obviously a lot of interest, was they've added Sprott, VBS Exchange, and Endeavour Silver into that private placement, which is extremely encouraging. We're looking forward to hearing the news, and James is going to walk us through what's going on and why things have gone so well. Good morning, James. Happy Friday. You've got lots going on. I'm pretty excited. We haven't talked to you for about 6 months probably, and in that
I think that's right.
There's been an awful lot. So I've kind of mentioned a couple of things. I assume we're going to go over the placement you just closed, the people involved in it, addition to the board, the 7-year PEA mine time frame for the mine. There's a lot. So let's jump into it. What's going on?
Yeah, okay. So there is a lot, and just chronologically, I guess, last fall we and for your listeners that don't know about VanGold, it's VanGold Mining. We've got silver and gold assets in central Mexico, in Guanajuato, Mexico, which is one of the great old North American silver and gold mining camps, certainly very famous in Mexican circles. So in the fall, on our first project, Pinguico, we announced a bunch of channel sampling from underground vein exposures in this 110-year-old mine. So, people, I think, got interested in the type of grades that we were finding. But the most important part of what we've done here over the last 6 months, we've signed a letter of intent with Endeavour Silver Corporation to purchase their El Cubo mine and mill, which is only 8 kilometers by road. It's about 5 kilometers in a straight line from Pinguico, from our other project. So we intend to run both of these projects together with one centrally located mill, and to be able to draw material from both projects.
I mean, with that too, I mean, they're in this last round of private placement as well.
Well, Endeavour's not. They will end up being our largest shareholder as part. So we're paying $15 million for
that. Yes.
For the mill.
Yes,
that's
okay.
Right. And the way that's constructed, we'll pay $7.5 million in cash.
Yep.
$5 million in our shares. Yep. Which ends up being about 21.3 million shares. So Endeavour ends up being our largest shareholder at about 11.3% of the company, yep. which I like. I think it's a nice, comfortable amount for a strategic partner, yep. to have. As you mentioned, we just closed a private placement for 17 million Canadian dollars, which was very well received. A lot of people know Eric Sprott. Eric participated in the private placement, as did a number of other strategic, well thought of, thoughtful shareholders, including a family office called VBS out of Australia. They are in the gold mining business as well as a whole bunch of other industries. Very wealthy family group from Australia, but they're a large shareholder of ours as well. So it's a good mix of institutional and retail shareholders. We'll take that $17 million, buy our mill. We'll have about 7 million Canadian dollars left over to refurbish the mill, and it is our intention to start putting material both from Pinguico and El Cubo through the mill around September of this year.
So that's what I like, is that it's a production story, near term, very quick, and you've moved fast. And also, it not only the people involved in this last placement, it ramped up pretty quick. I think you guys came out the gate at 12, and it ramped up to almost 17, 16 point, or 17.9, or is it 16.95?
Yeah, 16.95. So we'll call it 17. And yeah, that's right. So there was a lot of interest, and it's always a balancing act. Do you take that money? How much do you take in at any one time? But we feel that a little bit of extra dilution here right now, I don't think it's going to hurt the company. I don't think it hurts the story. And I mean, I've got a lot of confidence in this business plan, And the only thing that keeps me up at night is, in that period where we're ramping up, do we have enough money to go all the way? Because there's certainly a lot of examples of other mining companies who are, a dollar shy and a week late to put their project in production. So we're making sure that that's not going to happen to us. We also have, and this was announced, we haven't had very much news about it since. It was announced in the same news release that we announced the LOI in December, where we are borrowing $7.5 million US from a European family office, and we'll repay that loan in silver and gold after a 6-month grace period. So for us, I think it works really well. It's in terms of capital structure, debt versus equity. I think it's a nice mix.
Yep.
We will not be under the gun at any time in repaying that loan. So that's in front of us as well. And then so combined, we'll end up with, when we convert it all to Canadian dollars, something like 17 million bucks in our jeans to refurbish the mill. And I think that should be plenty.
Yes, no, that's wonderful news. And one more quick thing, you added Ramon Davila to the advisory board as well.
That's right. And I appreciate you saying what you said a moment ago, that we're moving really fast and doing a lot of things. We've come a long way in 6 or 8 months from when we did our first bulk sample from Pinguico in June. Ramon Davila joining our board is enormous. And I think that if there weren't so many other things going on, that would be the focus for a lot of the conversation about VanGold right now. So in my estimation, Ramon has the best CV in mining in Mexico. Yeah. Ramon was for 10 years the chief operating officer of First Majestic, and First Majestic's been enormously successful. When you have success has many fathers. Right. So there's a lot of people who you can point to, and there are a lot of good people there. And, certainly, Keith running the show, a huge personality, and that helps. But Ramon Davila was the chief operating officer for a 10-year period when that company went from 0 production to 12 million ounces of silver production per year. And he took that company from having 2 employees to 4,000. Wow. This guy's an all-star. I've got a father and son engineering team as partners in Mexico. They're awesome. Surname is Dorado. So there's Hernan, who's younger. He's about 40. And then Hernan's father, Gerardo. Both of these guys are completely embedded in VanGold. Gerardo went to school with Ramon Davila at the University of Guanajuato in the 70s. So they know each other very well. They studied mining engineering together, and their careers have had kind of parallel paths over the years. Hernan calls him uncle. Okay, so so to be able to attract Mr. Davila to VanGold at this juncture in his career, that's really important. After the 10 years at First Majestic, Ramon left First Majestic and took a post as the economy minister for the state of Durango for 4 years. And like any good miner, after 4 years in politics, he said, yeah, enough of that, and wants to get back in the mining business. And we will do everything that we can to try to attract Ramon on a very, permanent and important and embedded manner to VanGold, because I think that will be even more important having him on board than even these great projects that we've got.
That alone is such a huge catalyst, and I didn't want it to get lost in all the good news. But I wanted to make sure we hit those main ones so people understood, why has the stock gone from, say, 6 months ago, 15, 16 cents to 58 cents? In the last month, I think 35 cents to 58. There's lots of extra room too, as far as I'm concerned, my humble opinion. That it's just, we need to get this story out there, let people know, here are the people involved. And let's remind them too, this is the project. We'll walk through some of the things that have happened in the last little while. Let's get into some of the nitty gritty, but I definitely wanted to get out there to people why this is such a key focal point right now, why they should be paying attention to what you guys are up to.
Well, to your point, the stock market can be fickle, as we all know. I think that the VanGold shares have come a long way in a fairly short period of time. So I think that there's every opportunity, every chance that the thing pulls back a little bit. But I also think that it's the nature of the people involved at VanGold and the nature of the assets. This is a long-term play. We've got
Yes.
other ideas and other plans. We're not about to take our foot off the accelerator here. We've got a lot of things that we can do to build value for shareholders, and build this into a real Mexican silver and gold mining company. With Ramon's help, if we can pull that off, then the shares can take a pause for a little while, but the ultimate direction is going to continue on the direction that it has been going for a number of months.
I like what's happening here. And if you're just an investor, you believe in the company, you believe in the project, you believe in what's happening. This is long-term. You guys are, like you said, you're just coming up to speed. You're not even racing yet. So
Right. Well, Andrew, I'll point out to people too, like on this last financing, directors of the company took about 15% of the financing, and
excellent.
Dan Oliver with Mermacan Capital is a big part of that. But with Dan's participation and the rest of the directors currently, we own about, I think it's 16.5% of the issued capital of the company.
Or walk us through some of the things that to get kind of more into the nitty-gritty that we haven't seen for 6 or 7 months.
Sure. Well, let me start by just talking a little bit about El Cubo. It's a 1,500 ton a day mill is what we're buying. But we feel that running it at 1,500 tons a day is not the most economically beneficial method. So what we will do is we'll run the mill at about 750 tons a day for the time being. What Endeavour was doing was taking, very wide stopes, generally mechanical mining, and mining 4-meter stopes at El Cubo. But generally the veins, although very good grade, are 1 meter or 1.5 meters wide. So when you do that, you add in a lot of dilution. I don't think that it's, from a business point of view, from a mining perspective, that's a particularly good idea. So we're going to be doing much more selective mining at Cubo. We'll be taking less tons, and therefore running 750 tons a day, not 1,500 tons a day, but we've got both mines to be able to draw material from. So we'll be able to draw material both from Pinguico and El Cubo, only 8 kilometers by road away from each other. And so then we'll be in a very comfortable position to be very sustainable and have this operation in play for years and years and years to come. With regards to PEA, going into it, I think, there were a number of observers of VanGold who were looking and saying, well, okay, that's great. They bought a mill. Is there really enough material left over to start mining, to kickstart mining? How's that going to happen? Bear Dole Bear, who is, which is an American mining consultancy that dates back to 1911. It's one of the oldest, most established mining consultancies in the world. So we got Bear Dole Bear to do our preliminary economic assessment. They've come up with about, and I'm going to do something that you're not supposed to do, which is mix inferred and indicated material. But it's about, in total, it's about 27 million ounces of silver equivalent at both locations that we can use for this mining operation over a 7-year period. So
what should we be paying attention to now, other than you've closed the financing and you're moving at light speed?
We've closed the financing. The next milestone, I guess, will be to close the acquisition, which we expect to be able to do in 7 to 10 days. But really, Andrew, now is where the hard work starts.
Yes.
We've done a lot. We've gotten ourselves into a fantastic position. And we've got a great skeleton of a team in Guanajuato, but we need to flesh out that team. We've hired a human resources fellow who's worked at El Cubo in the past and has a lot of mining experience. So he's going to be able to help us source the people who we need to fill managerial and superintendent roles at the mill, especially, and refurbishing the mill itself. Again, we're already doing that, but yes, it will accelerate, the moment that we take possession of the mill itself. Just last week, we had an X-ray crew into the mill so that they can X-ray all of the big component parts.
Yes.
Make
Yes.
sure that there's no hairline fractures. That all looks good. And I guess for your listeners, one other thing that I would point out, the mill hasn't been run for 14 months. It's like buying an old Pontiac.
Yes.
We need spark plugs and a tune-up and an oil change before we take it out on the highway. And with regards to the mill, we need filters and clamps and hoses and belts and new electrical cable. But all of the component parts are there. It's not like we're rebuilding a mill here.
Yes.
We own it.
Yeah.
Just like the tailings facility. We don't have to permit a new tailings facility. We don't have to build a new tailings facility. We own it.
Yeah.
So in terms of the pace to production, we're light years ahead of many of our competitors.
And that's what stands out so much. And people haven't heard as many of these kind of stories. And there's kind of that joke in the mining is that, wait a second, you're actually going to have production? Wait, what is that what you're supposed to be doing?
You've taken away all the upside.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to produce. You don't have revenue too soon.
Right. Well, the exploration upside of these of the projects that we got is fantastic, and I guess I should talk on that just for a minute. It's a 480-year-old mining camp. Okay. Well, it's been said by people who are a lot smarter than me. If you want to find silver and gold, go to places where there's silver and gold mines. Right.
Yes.
Our original project, Pinguico, we've purchased our own drill rig. Now there were some delays in that as well, but we got that rig in January. We're on to I think it's our 7th drill hole. So we will have, constant drill results as we put more and more material in sight so that we can mine it in the years ahead. That's very exciting. When we only had Pinguico, sometimes I'd get a little bit of pushback because the footprint of the Pinguico project is quite small, and that's true. I used to tell people I'd rather have a small project with lots of gold and silver on it than a big one without any. Right?
Of course, yeah.
But this asset that we're buying, we not only buy the mill, we not only buy the mine, but we buy 7,000 hectares of prospective ground in the Guanajuato area, potential exploration targets that we've already identified in computer modeling at El Cubo. And you've heard me talk about some of the exploration potential at Pinguico in the past. I mean, we're just getting started there. There'll be years of exploration, dare I say it, success in the years ahead.
Often people think, and we joked about it a little bit there, is that, oh, you've got a PEA, you've defined the resource, it's that curve is done, it's over. And it's like, whoa, no, slow down. We're not done, not at all. But it's this new, I hate to even say it's a new model, but you're able to actually have some revenue and production while you're still expanding upon targets you've already identified. So there is still this exploration side that's developing that you're just not, hopefully, ideally, going to have to pay for by diluting with raising more money, or you at least have the option, or it's at your leisure, you can decide. That's exactly right. El Cubo's been in production for 200 years. It's going to be in production for another 100 years. Right. And I see us as being, the takers of the baton, and we can run with this for a good long time. But as you point out, we can do that from a position of cash flow, especially at this lower rate of production through the mill, so that we're not constantly having to, that the mill isn't demanding more material all the time, where we're in control of it and we're advancing the project and producing at a rate that makes sense for our company and for the project. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Congratulations, well-deserved, well-earned success, and we look forward to all the milestones that are coming. And I see, my humble opinion again, lots of success coming here in the future as well. Thank you very much, Andrew. Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it. Thanks, James. Take care.
Click that like and subscribe button and go sign up on superchargedstocks.com. Let's keep you notified.